Welcome to Charts Today. My name is David Linton, and today's edition for Friday, the 30th of August, comes to you from London. And we start by looking at the dollar continuing to push higher, and the high that we saw just over a month ago starting to look set to be broken. So we're just seeing that the dollar continuing to look strong. And that means, of course, that the Eurodollar is weaker, and we're seeing the Eurodollar falling there to new lows. Against the yen, the dollar looks strong on the short-term chart, and sterling is weakening against that stronger dollar. Sterling is up against the euro this morning, but still is looking bearish on the charts. And against the Swiss franc, we're hovering at this 120 level. Just a little bit of strength showing through there again this morning. Bitcoin struggling in this short-term bearish territory, and medium-term turning bearish as well. This $10,000 level now critical for Bitcoin. And looking at the S&P 500 index, it was actually up quite sharply last night. So we are seeing quite good support being found on the daily cloud at the moment, and that is key. Will this support needs to hold? And looking at the Nasdaq, we're seeing it returning also to short-term bullish territory now, just getting back above the cloud there, and the Dow up another 1.25% as well, looking a bit stronger on that short-term chart. The Russell 2000 index is the index that's concerned us the most. It recovered quite well yesterday as well, and the futures this morning look set to be up about 0.25% on the S&P, and about the same on the Nasdaq E-mini. Of course, we are going into the long weekend in the US, Labor Day on Monday, so markets are likely to be fairly quiet today with people getting off for the holiday weekend. FTSE is up 0.25% this morning in the UK, so short-term bullish again, and mid-caps also improving by a similar amount. The DAX is up 0.5%, it's looking stronger, and the CAC 40 up also looking stronger. Japanese yen, the Japanese market up 1.3%, so that was pretty strong showing overnight, and the Hang Seng was fairly flat. The Chinese market down slightly, and India down slightly as well. So we are just seeing the macro political situation still a little bit mixed, and we're seeing the Aussie market looking very strong, up 1.5%. So it's the market that is outperforming in the Asia Pacific region. Brent crude is down this morning. We're still above the $60 level. We're down 0.5% there, and WTI is similarly down, but we are still holding short-term bullish there as well. US nat gas sitting steady at $2.28. Looking at gold this morning, we're sitting at 1523. We've dived back into short-term bearish territory there on gold, and the same with silver. Interestingly, on that gold chart, we've unwound with that setback. We've unwound the upside target that we did have on this chart, but we are still looking at 1600 longer term. Taking a look at US 10-year yields, we've seen a little bit of an improvement here, back above the 1.5% level, 1.54%. So just a little bit of an improvement in yields, and that means German bond prices, in line with US bonds, have just fallen back a little bit. Taking a look at the individual stocks now, we start by looking at the Dow. And we see here not many stocks down last night, only 3. Johnson & Johnson continues to fall, so their woes continue. The chart looking more and more bearish there. On the upside, we had Caterpillar. They're up 2.5%, so looking quite good there. And we had Home Depot up 2.4%. That chart also making new highs. Very positive looking chart, so looking good there as well. Taking a look at the Nasdaq, the best performer was Mylan Group. They were up nearly 4%, not enough to change the picture here. American Airlines were the second best performer, again not enough to change the picture. So we're seeing a lot of these charts looking fairly bearish. Seagate actually looking like it is recovering, so that is one good chart there. Taking a look at the downside, we only had 5 stocks down. It just shows how much the market was up across the board. We see Dollar Tree were down nearly 2%. Bearish on the medium-term chart, the long-term chart still holding on. Monster Beverages continuing to fall away there, and Biogen not really recovering since the sharp falls we saw earlier in the year. and Celgene much the same. The chart maybe just starting to look like a recovery there, and Amgen Group actually looking pretty strong, nudging new highs. Taking a look at the Aussie market, as we said, it was up pretty sharply. Appen Limited were up 7%. Eclipse Group were up 6%. That chart not looking great though. Ausdrill looking better again. Looking good on the medium term. The long term still has a bit of work to do there. And if we look at the downside, here we had Harvey Norman. They were down 6%, and Corporate Travel Management down 4%, and actually looking pretty grim there on the chart. Looking at the Indian market now, we've got the Nifty 50. The best performer there is Sun Pharmaceuticals. They're up 3%. So looking like a short-term recovery there on the medium-term chart at least. Vedanta, the second best performer, not a great looking chart at all. And if we look at the downside, we had Hindustan Petroleum. They were down nearly 5%, and the chart is still bearish. And Bharati Infratel also looking bearish there as well. Taking a look at Europe, the FTSE 100, of course, we mentioned was up. We've got Micro Focus recovering a little bit after yesterday's big profits fall, so that was pretty bearish for them. And NMC Health, we've also saw is up this morning, but had a pretty tough day yesterday as well. So we're seeing just a number of these stocks, and then we see the live prices coming in from Yahoo Finance. The worst performers so far this morning is Fresnillo. They're down, and Direct Line Insurance also hitting new lows, so not looking great there either. So we are seeing here an underperformance of about 13% on the Dow, and downside targets a further 20 to 25%. Looking at the FTSE 100, we see here Grafton Group up 6%. Sorry, this is the 250. Grafton Group up 6%. Amigo Holdings up as well. But these charts not looking at all good. It's really quite hard to find a lot of good-looking charts at the moment. Into Properties also down. And, of course, Metro Bank, they're up, but that chart is dire. Taking a look at the downside, we've got Vivo Energy. They're down 5% this morning. Again, not a great-looking chart. Hochschild Mining also, and Polymetal International also down 1.6%, but looking great on the chart. Taking a look now at the Euro stocks, the top 50 stocks in Europe, we've got then live pricing there coming in from Yahoo Finance. We've got BNP Paribas, we've got Total, they're up strongly this morning, and Kering Group up 2%. And that chart's still holding on the long term, medium term, not so good. On the downside, we've got L'Oreal, they're down 1%, and that's just starting to look a little bit worrying on that medium term. Recovering, but still not quite back above the cloud. That's it for today. Until Monday, have a great weekend. Happy charting. See you then.